Hello, 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 everyone. How are you doing today? Happy Monday. Today is January 23rd, 2023. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Julie Nguyen. I'm coming to you from California, United States of America. And I'm here with Michael William from Canada. Michael, if you could please say hello to everyone.
Well, hello, Julie, and hello, everyone. Trust everyone is doing well. Today is Monday. Monday is always a great day. So we look forward to spending some time with you today.
Yes, me too. I'm looking forward to every Monday because every Monday we brought on very interesting topic. First of all, it's about what we've heard from last week during our corporate meeting. And also, it's something that we both want to bring our conversation into and share with all our friends and family around the world who's currently watching us. Thank you so much, everyone, for tapping in onto my Facebook and also on YouTube as well. If you would, please share it out. It's a good message we're talking today because as every single one of us who have been in Onpassive, who has been observing the development of Onpassive, we know that Onpassive is an ethical company. Am I right, Michael?
Well, absolutely, Julie. There's no doubt about that. And that's one of the things that we love about Onpassive, right, is that it is ethical, as to why people choose to do otherwise, it blows my mind. But certainly, we are so glad that Onpassive is being built from the ground up with ethics as a key component, right? Very, very key component. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely, Michael. As we know that we've been involved in businesses that have not been very transparent until this time when we are in Onpassive. We've been observing Onpassive for you almost 5 years, for myself almost 4 years. And I love how Onpassive is being so transparent, not only on the products that we are creating, but also on the people that are involved. And last week in the corporate meeting, the international corporate meeting, one of our main Dr. Soha communicator has communicated about what we are doing with our team, with our staff, about creating a cultural and training so that everything that we are doing, even our communications, even the things that we are putting out there to the world is focusing on morality, focusing on beneficial for humanity and avoiding any kind of harm at all, Michael. So it was very interesting that we had that discussions and we do have watched the video of how Onpassive itself training the staff, the Onpassivians.
Yeah, absolutely, because you want it to be a culture, right? You want ethics, good morals, great values to be instilled, not just in the public, right? We have to take care of ourselves first, in-house. So if you can get all the staff members going in the same direction, towing the same line, having the same values put forth, then that will transcend out into the marketplace. And I believe that people will resonate with that simply because it will be refreshing, right? It's something that most companies just don't have. We live in a time where, ethics are thrown out the door. It's all about money and we're going to do whatever we need to do in order to get it. And we don't care who we're hurting in the process, and so Onpassive is taking a completely different approach. And so, that's why we're happy, Julie. That's why we're so glad to be here and partnering with a company such as this.
It's so beautiful to the point where this morning I was looking through our blogs, Onpassive blogs. And if anyone, if you are out there looking into Onpassive, is on www.onpassive.com. We also have www.onpassive.com the blog. Reading the blog, I've seen so many articles out there, starting since probably 2020, that Onpassive start talking about having the ethical, having, ethical in artificial intelligence, having the principle within the business that we are building. And I see that Onpassive is setting a model, a role model for other company as well to follow up with those principles, those ethicals, and also through the products. We want to talk about a little bit about the products later on, but what we're saying here is that we have our own set of principles that we're following.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there have to be guidelines in everything that you do. There have to be rules and regulation. But how great is it when you are the ones that set in that, right? So you can be governed by yourself as opposed to someone else imposing those rules upon you, right? So if you're the one that's developing those rules and guidelines, then surely you should abide by them, number one. And number two, if you're making it in such a way that it's appealing to the public, right? You're not taking advantage of people. As we said earlier, you're not harming anyone. So if you build the technology with that in mind, then you're going to have something that is going to be completely different that's out there in the marketplace, right? And that's what we have with Onpassive, because when it comes to data, data is huge. It is the lifeblood of any business, right? And so when you build that, when you infuse that with the AI technology, it's a complete win-win for us.
Absolutely. And the way how our CEO and our communication team is putting it out there, Mr. Mufareh say that we have the right people in the place. The work from the people that we have in our team, in our own company, are the above average people. We're talking about the average people when they just show up to do work and that's it. But the people that we have, the team that we have, our CEO, Mr. Mufareh, said that we do have the dream team, because all the people behind the brand of Onpassive are showing up and do the above average of work and continue to do that, not just show up to do work. And what they'll also do is that they put the effort, the talent in front of, let's say, the salary or the money that they, or, all of that. So I think, I believe that what Onpassive does not only set up as a role model or an example for other company, but also for other countries as well, for governmental. And I believe, Michael, that is one of the reasons why Dubai is leading in IT. It's accepting and welcoming Onpassive so warmly.
Yeah, that is for sure. Because again, when you're leading by example, right? When you're leading by example and people are resonating with that example that you're putting forth, they can't help but to lock arms with you. They can't help but to fall in love with you, like the Dubai government has with Onpassive, because the money part is taken care of. This is what we're seeing in Dubai as a whole. The money part is taken care of, right? When they're getting, celebrities or athletes or whomever to come over, businesses to come over, like the money part is taken care of. It's not focused on the money. Let's get that out of the way. So in other words, let's pay people more than what they deserve, okay? If we do that, then they're not coming to work thinking about, let me just get through the day and on to the next. And they actually want to be there, right? Because the money part is not a concern, right? And one of the things that we've been saying in Onpassive, for some time now, is that we don't need to talk about money as founders, as brand ambassadors, because that is taken care of. It's the same principle, right? You get that out of the way, now people can focus on the task at hand. They can focus on their job. They can do what needs to be done, and they're willing to go above and beyond, right? They're willing to stay the long hours if necessary, right? Because people love being there. They love being at work, and that's the type of employees that you want, Julie. You want people that are looking forward, to come to a place of work, as opposed to you dragging yourself out of bed, oh, here we go again. And you get there and you're watching the clock. You can't wait, for your shift to be over or whatever, right? It's a different mindset when you know that you're coming into a good environment, a happy place, a safe place, that makes a huge difference in the work experience. And so Onpassive is certainly providing that and more to our staff.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I've seen so many bold statements that's been said in, coming through our CEO, coming through our head of communication. I mean, look at behind us, Michael. Your next stop is Onpassive. Is that bold? You have to hold some sort of when I'm talking about power, I'm not talking about authority type of power, but I'm talking about the integrity and the ethical of what you are doing for us to be able to say that bold statement. Your next stop is Onpassive, and the future of internet is Onpassive. And now I quote this from Dr. Soha, the head of our communication department. We are going to train to increase productivity, and it's going to promote and improve our organization to boost morale, improve knowledge, and enhance us to reach our goals. And that the goals of Onpassive is what? To change the way humanity doing business, to correct the corruptions, to be able to set, I believe, a mindset or an attitude for everyone's that involve humanity and also the technology behind it to have a heart. And I think this is, and those are some of the little reason why I said we're saying so many bold statements out there, Michael.
Yes, because when we look at your next stop is Onpassive, not only is it a train station, from a practical standpoint, but also from a business standpoint for customers, right? Your next stop is Onpassive, right? So as customers are out there and customers are constantly changing platforms, services, various products that they utilize, well, guess what? Onpassive is your next stop. Right. And so they will come to appreciate, what Onpassive will offer as far as values, in their product line. Right. And so when we look at, you have the whole idea of respecting people's privacy. You have the whole idea of, the environment, plays a role. Are you respecting the environment? Are you producing, environmentally friendly products? Right, like all these things come in mind. Are you discriminating against, individuals, whether it be your staff, whether it be the public? All these things has to do with ethics, right? So, we see that Onpassive is ensuring from the beginning. They're not, coming up with this down the road because a social issue came up or a social problem came up. No, they're doing this from the very beginning, setting the tone of how they want the experience to be, not just for the customer, not just for the public, right, but even within, by maintaining and encouraging that type of culture, right? So Onpassive is doing all the right things as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, your next stop will be Onpassive.
Absolutely. Not only the next stop, I believe it's the final steps. That is stop right there and with Onpassive. Michael, it's so amazing that we are having a CEO, Mr. Ash Mufareh, who has taken his role as a CEO in the past years. Right now, his role continues on by looking at Onpassive in the growth of Onpassive, and that's one of the reasons what he said in our meeting in the past, over the weekend, is we are playing this long term, right? And we're playing it right, not fast, right? Everything is exactly happening the way he planned, the way that Onpassive planned. And I just love the fact that, I mean, reading the article in the blogs and seeing and observing Onpassive is, I see that Onpassive has its own integrity and ethical set from the very beginning. If we all are looking at the blog of Onpassive, we talked about ethical, having the ethical artificial intelligence, having ethical people, having an ethical team, working together for long term. We want Onpassive to last forever in this world, to continue to make a biggest impact and the difference in people's life.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in today's culture, right? Everything is fast, fast, fast. Now, right? That's the world that we're in today, right? We want things to come to us faster. You know, we no longer do we want, you know, a product. We go on Amazon, for example, and we order a product. We don't want it 30 days later. We want it like next day, right? You know, so that's the type of society that we're in, where everything is just instant, right? But if you want to have something that has the proper value, you know, built in, that takes time. It takes time to create, you know, various cultures, right? And so if you want to implement, you know, a culture with the right ethics, right? You're certainly going to be taking your time to do all that. You're not going to just rush it. You're not just slap something and say, here we go. And then you're making mistakes because you're cutting corners, right? That's not doing things the right way, you know, and it certainly will not, you know, get you to last, you know, that's for sure, right? So if you want to be here for generations to come, which is one of the reasons Onpassive is built, it's built, you know, to be generational. Right. So if you want that, you certainly have to, you know, be careful as to how you're laying the foundation. Right. And so, as I said earlier, to have all these things built in within your foundation, it's the right thing to do. It's the ethical thing to do, Julie, because people are tired. People are tired of the corruption. It's at every level of society. Right. Every level is corrupted. Right. So how can we fix that? Well, you have to bring out something that's new. So yes, it's going to take time, and rightfully so, right? Because if it didn't take time, it's just going to be like everything else. Then what's the point, right? What's the point in bringing something out that's already there? I can go over here and get the exact same thing. But no, Onpassive says we can be different. We can be revolutionary. We can make a paradigm shift as to how people think, how they function, how they interact, right? So that way people feel, you know, that they're actually loved. People feel that, you know what, this is somewhere that I want to be. This is a company that I want to do business with long term, not just today, not just tomorrow, but long term. And that is how people become, or at least how they be able to get generational wealth, Julie, is by having something such as that. And so again, I'm grateful for Onpassive because it is the right place to be, because the company is doing all the right things.
Yes, absolutely, Michael. You know, I know myself that I'm not a technical person. I don't have too much knowledge in terms of technology. However, I do understand that artificial intelligence is something that created by human. And in order for artificial intelligence to work beneficial for humanity, we have to have the right team, the right people behind it. And I wanted to read this little sentence from one of our blogs in Onpassive. Ethics must be integrated into AI system for various reasons, including giving safety guidelines that can help humanity avoid existential hazards, addressing bias problem, developing social artificial intelligence system that adhere to ethical standards, and helping humanity thrive. What we are doing today within Onpassive, it's wanting to create that culture, is wanting to create that principle, like I said earlier, to have the team be able to, I guess, attracting other humanity, other tech teams out there that coming into Onpassive, not only just the tech team ourselves, but also the brand ambassadors. We all need to have that mentality and that ethics of delivering the message of Onpassive. Your thoughts on that statement, Michael?
Yeah, again, if you infuse everything with ethics, you can't go wrong. Like, that's just the bottom line, right? So that includes your products, right? You know, meaning that if we produce a product and it goes out there into the marketplace, right, what's the impact it's going to have, right? How will it impact individuals that will be utilizing the product, right? Is it going to be a good experience for them, right? Is it a fair experience, right? Are there, discriminatory practices within the products themselves, right? So all these things you have to look at, and I believe that Onpassive is certainly taking all the right steps to make sure, that these rules, let's call them, are adhered to, right? And that's a good thing. And so it starts with your team. So you have to have the right team, Julie. And we certainly do that, especially with our own media department, right? We certainly have that. So we know that we can trust the process. We can trust what the company is doing because everything is being done right. And you can't go wrong with that.
Yes, every steps we take, everything's the timeline, everything that's put out has to be in the right place and in the proper way as well. It's really interesting to sitting here every Monday to chat with you about Onpassive, and there are so many that we could talk about Onpassive, and we are excited to start putting our hands at some of the great product that Onpassive create. If you are currently watching this and you like to take a look at our website, as you can see behind both Michael and I, www.onpassive.com, clicked on some of our products. We are having free products out there for the world. So that would be a great place to be. Michael, as a brand ambassador of Onpassive, I believe that each and every one of us have to embody the message, the ethical, the principle of Onpassive to the world. What are some of the principles that you are representing?
Well, I think we've infused some of those within the topic thus far, and fairness, right? A level playing field, right? You'd be surprised at so many organizations where things are just not at a level playing field, right? So even something as simple as that, just making things are fair. Okay, we're all on the same level. We can all achieve the same. Doesn't mean that we will achieve the same, right? There's a difference in giving the opportunity to be able to do so, right? But some person may decide to go above and beyond. Some person may decide to just settle. All those factors come into play. But at least on the surface, having the ability to be able to achieve at the same level, that's important. So you have fairness. Then you also have, as far as I mentioned earlier about, discriminating, right? Even within your staff membership, right? Where there could be discriminatory practices, that an organization may have that, one may feel disadvantaged to another, right? So all these things come into play, Julie, and we as brand ambassadors, what are we doing, right? Are we going about doing things the right way? Are we infringing on other people's rights? Are we taking advantage of people because we are brand ambassadors and so on, right? Or are we going out there doing the right thing at all times, right? Are we playing fairly with others, and sometimes you find in organizations, because a person may feel that they know more than somebody else, they use that influence, to make demands on others that they shouldn't, so we certainly, not just from the employee staff standpoint, but it has to stretch to us, right? We as brand ambassadors, that at all times that we're always doing the right thing. Whether someone is watching you or not, are you doing the right thing? That's important, Julie. So we want to create that culture, right? Without and within, right? Because when we do it within, and that message gets sent out, right, to the world, then we can clearly see the impact that we will have in a positive way. Because we can impact stuff negatively, right? We want to have a positive impact on the world as well. And this will go about uplifting humanity when we all have that same mindset.
For sure. And we are in the first month of 2023. Like I said the other day, I said right now is the time for us to start setting that attitude and that mindset. First of all, we want to examine ourselves. Are we representing the brand? Are we saying the correct message, the accurate message out there to the world? And I think it is now really a time for all of us to, this is the business. This is one, how do I want to represent my business, right? So the attitude, having that mindset, as we are in the very early of 2023, we can start doing that every single day, is setting that mindset, setting that attitude that we are moving forward from here. This is our business. How do we represent our business?
Yeah. Again, when we have that same shared beliefs, right, and we instill that into all those who are around us, right? Again, what are we doing? We're creating positive synergy, right? Whether it's perceived, right, or not. The fact that we are all in the same mindset and we're all going in the same direction, and we all have the same belief, and we all, firmly grounded in Onpassive, knowing that, yes, this is a company that's going to change a lot of lives around the world. When we all come together with that same message, Julie, you can't help but to affect positive change. It's inevitable, right? There's no doubt about that. From a company's perspective, when they're hiring new people, right? Again, if that's the message that's being communicated, I believe a lot of potential employees are going to resonate with them. They're going to want to be a part of this when they say, well, this is different, right? This is different. So, so it's the staff, right? Your employees, it's your business partners, okay? Whether it be, the government of Dubai, as an example, right? Whether it be the American government, like, whichever governments that a company is dealing with in India, right? So whether it's from that level or back to us as brand ambassadors, we want everyone to be communicating the same message, because that's how you grow and instill the right culture, right? Is when everyone is going in the same direction. That's for sure. Absolutely.
And it's always best to start it right, right? To start it right, do the right thing rather than fixing the wrong thing that we did, right?
Yeah, well, that's what companies do, Julie, right? They usually just do whatever and then, we'll fix it along the way, as opposed to do it all up front, right? So you're setting the tone for what is to come, right?
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I so disagree with the statement, fake it before you make it. It's like 100,000% disagree with that, because you can't really fake anything. You got to do it right from the very beginning, and then you build from there, and then you adjusting, and then you making things better every single day. And that's pretty awesome for us to be here with Onpassive, where we started from the top and we just keep open that top up. We keep stepping up instead of stepping down and fixing it and step it up. But I always love to continue to do that. Michael, it's so good to have you on, and it's so good to actually sitting down and just discuss some of the great points that are here. Today, we're talking about ethical. Onpassive is an ethical company, and I love for our guests, our viewers here today, to check out some of those articles in our Onpassive blog. I do have the link. I promise you, after this live, I will put in the comment for you. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. We come to you every single Monday. And then there's other things that I am doing personally with other guests as well. And if you're on Facebook, I know that I'm maxed out on the friends stuff, but just click follow and you'll get these coming to you. I will put these links, some of the articles that talking about ethical in the company, ethical in AI, and all that in the comment for you, so you can read them. Very, very interesting. And I think reading all those, I definitely guarantee you that you can learn some of that as well, and also apply it to our own business as brand ambassadors of Onpassive. Michael, any last message, any last word of wisdom that you like to share with our viewers?
Well, just that, again, it's all about a paradigm shift. It's all about getting away from the corruption, right? There's just too much. Like, every aspect of our day-to-day life, right, is filled with corruption, And I think that's one of the reasons people love to come to anything that has to do with Onpassive, right? Because they know what they're getting is the truth, what they're getting is transparency, right? What they're getting is good morals, right? It's just a place to be, right? It's just a place to be. If people want to find somewhere, that they can, just foster positivity, right? There's enough negativity out there. We don't need to add any more to that. So if we can make a difference in somebody's life, maybe it's just a one-day thing, maybe it's a two-day thing. But the more and more people come and they get feedback and they just keep hearing these conversations, I believe, what we're doing, Julie, is actually having an impact on people's mind, the way they think, right? Because the more positive you can be in your day-to-day life, you will see that translate in all other aspects of your life, right? You will see it, right? There is just something to be said about having a positive mindset, right? You have to believe that success is yours. You have to believe that you can accomplish and be what it is that you want to be in life, right? Like you have to start with that. And the more and more you keep saying it to yourself and believing in yourself, right, you'll start to see it actually come out in practical terms in your life. We live in a world that's filled with inclusions, right? So we have to cater to that, right? We can't, this is only for this set of people or only that set of culture or that. We can't. We have to be inclusive, and that's what Onpassive is. Doesn't matter whether your religion is this or that. It doesn't matter your culture, your background, all these things. You have those who discriminate because, oh, well, you don't have enough degrees. You don't have enough, doctorate. It's funny how people just like to classify and segment society. And yet we're all one. If you cut me and you cut yourself, Julie, it's the same blood, right? You may have different blood types, but it's still the same blood though, right? So at the end of the day, we have to engage in things that are going to lead in a positive direction. And that's what Onpassive is doing, right? It's not just the money part. It's literally about how can we make the world a better place? How can we create a new internet that is for everyone, right? And we're not talking about the bad people. We'll put them over in some other space, right? But what we're talking about is to be able to get people to grow, in a positive manner, so that they can actually live life and enjoy living life, and enjoy waking up in the mornings. Some people go to bed, Julie, and don't want to wake up, right? They actually go to bed and don't want to wake up in the mornings. I look forward to waking up every morning. And sometimes I think I cut myself short on sleep, because I'm looking forward to wake up, in the morning and just keep going. So that's all we can do is encourage people that, listen, if you want a company that is ethical, you want to be part of a movement that's going in a positive direction, Onpassive should be your last stop. So definitely check us out at onpassive.com. All right.
Absolutely. I love it, Michael. And always do the right thing. Yeah. Do the right thing with a good intention. Yes. And that's how we want to start our day. And that's how we wanted to start our business, is just do the right thing. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I always, every single day, to pray, to have the wisdom and to be able to know right from wrong and know the difference between those two. So let's continue to do that. Let's continue to do the right thing. Let's continue to focus on the intention and the ethical, what Onpassive is creating and sharing to the world. God bless you, everyone. Please take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we will see you next time, next Monday. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Michael.